There is nothing like a pending move to make you realize just how much crap you've accumulated.
Ah,
Even
yes.
even if it's all in boxes, there's always going to be just stuff lurking around.
And with that, we break the news that Greg is moving.
Yes, I've got actually end of the month. I am actually going to be traveling out to the location of the move, and then flying back to get stuff started, and then come back here to gather up a little funds. And girlfriend and our roommate is going to be they're setting up there, and I'll be joining them in a bit. It's gonna be a busy uh, February's kind of shot for videos.
Yeah, yeah, we had gotten things rolling again, but you got to take life when it happens.
Yeah, so that's kind of the sort of the news. We've got it's Toy Fair weekend, Toy Fair Saturday as we talk now.
Indeed, it is.
There's bits and pieces to be discussed. I will say I was just while we were setting up, I was looking at some of the show renders for the new Robots in Disguise series. Something I didn't notice about the Autobot combiner
Hmm.
before, because we never had a chance to see it. I think Drift becomes a giant sword.
Really nice.
Yeah, there's a turnaround of Ultra B or whatever he's called, and on the back is a big giant sword with yellow and black armor.
Oh, neat.
No, sorry, orange and black armor. It sure looks drifty.
Well, it certainly would fit in with his whole shtick.
Yeah, and it would make the team a 5-bot combiner to match Menasor, who's a different style of 5-bot combiner.
Right. I'm actually quite liking what I'm seeing out of robots in disguise right now, except when they finally hit a concept that forces them to make a large number of villain toys, they've conveniently dropped the beast guys.
Yeah, I think that's just this team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the best. That is the best thing that that particular franchise has going for it is its new and innovative Decepticons.
Mm-hmm. It's not heavily G1 Decepticons.
Yep.
Now, granted, this new Stunnicon team is not as G1y as it could be, thankfully, but there are a fair few new guys in the two Decepticon combiners we're seeing.
Yeah. It's just none of them are nifty beastmen.
Yeah. But speaking of Beastmen, uh,
Aha!
main thing we're going to talk about is I did in fact see the Lego Batman movie. Yeah, it's been a week. I'm sure most people have seen it. I have thoughts about it. You haven't seen it yet.
Nope, I've been trapped at home.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that you can only care so much about spoilers since we're talking about this.
Yeah, I don't care that much. No.
Okay. Well,
So
I'm going to try to avoid a couple of the big ones because the movie went in a direction that I did not expect, and you would not expect if you were simply looking at the toy sets that are out now.
oh,
You would not, the advertising and the toys and everything kind of severely ignore
okay. Well, let's talk
a major
mainly
plot point.
then about the stuff that one would know from trailers and toys.
Okay. Well, more just general thing. I mean, it was funny. It was really funny. But I think, well, it's no Lego movie, and that's an incredibly high bar. So I don't blame it for not reaching that. It basically couldn't. Yeah, that's an unfair. But kind of in retrospect, afterwards, I started thinking about it, and it kind of hit me some things that it didn't do well. Like I said, it's funny, and I definitely think it's worth watching, and I enjoyed it. But As people look at the toy line, as at the Lego brick line, you'll notice all the obscure villains that they're pulling out of here. And they pull a lot of
Right.
obscure stuff. I mean, and they're pulling, you get the erase. I mean, that's the joke. You made some of those up. Nope, all real, and they are.
Right.
As broad as this thing pulls from Batman, and I say this as somebody who does not exactly,
Hmm.
I'm not a big Batman fan, I'm not a big Batman historian, but even I'm sitting there kind of going, as broad as this is, it's no more than surface level deep as a like the villains are barely in it, kind of. They don't get to do much. Like they've got friggin' Billy D. Williams showing up as Two-Face. I think he has two lines in the whole thing. Conan O'Brien is the Riddler, and I'm not sure he has a line at all in the final cut. There's a lot of that. I mean, there are some neat touches. Clayface is in it, and they're voiced by the woman who plays Sadie, the donut shop girl in Steven Universe, which is cute. But yeah, it's very, very shallow with the way it treats the Batman characters. Like it recognizes that they're there and pulls from them, and it kind of plays in with how this movie makes concessions to the idea that this is a Lego universe. Theoretically, I guess the same kind of Lego universe that was from the Lego movie. Because they actually make reference to the great swirling vortex void underneath, aka under the table. And there are brick based jokes, and Batman and company make things out of the bricks around them. But it never quite commits to it the same way the Lego movie did, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
I can kind of understand what you're saying there. Is it's more set dressing than plot, uh, than integrated into the story.
Yeah, it always feels kind of off, and it's not helped that this time around there's a lot more smoke effects and some water effects and such that aren't made of Lego.
Oh, no, that's a pity.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of, and there's also intrusions of live action film footage from time to time. Like you see you see some bits from Batman 66. There's when Batman's sitting in the theater by himself watching movies. It's, clips from real movies, not a Legoized version of it. So it comes across very jarring. And actually, I just realized one of the things I was thinking about when it came to the surface level gag. Of course, they do the Biff Pow sock at one point, but they actually deliberately set it up and saying, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to hit these people so hard and so awesomely that words are going to fly out from our fists." You didn't even. That's not telegraphing the joke. That's.
That's kind of ruining the joke.
Yeah. Yeah. You make the thing happen, then you have Robin ask what that is, and like, "You've just hit them so hard and so awesome. And it's all kind of that. Like I said, I mean, I'd say it's again, it's a really funny movie. It has energy for days. It's a little too visually busy for my tastes, though. Apparently, the director of this one is primarily an animator.
Ah,
And you can tell because they're really trying to do a bunch of impressive stuff. And it does look impressive, but it's also one of those movies where there's 1,000 things going on at once
yeah.
to the point of distraction. So, yeah, like I said, it's weird. It's a strange movie to. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I don't know that I would see it again in theaters. I mean, it's still the best so far. One of the best Batman movies we've had in what the last decade.
Yeah, yeah. It's Batman is a victim of his own Batmanness.
Yeah, and this movie is a nice send up of that Batmanness because he is a pathetic man child convinced of his own superiority and everything is awesome and he's just awesome and the whole movie kind of takes pains to go no, 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 back it down, back it down. I mean, they make swipes at Batman versus Batman v Superman. There's a swipe at Suicide Squad in there. But yeah, kind of tying in with Toy Fair and Batman. Like I said, the toy line. The I will say that the Lego Batman toy line is a dream for a ought to be a dream for a Batman fan because of the sheer number of villain characters, like seeded D-listers even. I'm not sure who. I mean, I can only think of a handful of characters of any vague importance that they left out. Like, I don't think they did the ventriloquist, but then again, there's not really. Well, I suppose they could have made the new baby piece dummy,
yeah,
but meh.
but they
I don't think the Mad Hatter's in it.
but
But those are like the only two pseudo major ones I can think of. And they pulled out a bunch of old obscure ones. The friggin' eraser.
man, even I don't quite know who that is.
No, no. They went to a lot of I get what is it, Silver Age
Oh
comics?
yeah, yeah, Silver and Gold Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do that with Batman because he's one of the few ones that we still care about that's from that time period. Um,
Yeah. And well, let's face it, he's got one of the best rogues
well, yeah.
galleries. Or at least one of the broadest rogues galleries.
Well, they picked a good theme for him early on for that.
Hmm.
They picked the best theme possible for a rogues gallery, which is crazy, people.
Hmm.
Because as long
People who fixate on one
yeah,
theme.
obsessives. Uh, because it means that literally the sky's the limit as long as you have an excuse to send that person to Arkham instead of to Gen Pop. And they
Hmm.
did that just because they wanted to make sure that their eternally escaped place was not an actual prison.
But no, it's I I can only imagine how many fandoms of a long established fiction would drop kick a basket of puppies to get the kind of deep cuts
Oh yeah, yeah,
at a very inexpensive rate even. Because tying into Toy Fair, one of the things they finally revealed that yes, there are Mattel and Super 8, I think the company is, are reviving Muscle Things from the
yeah,
80s. For those of you who may not know, Muscle Things, I don't remember what the name of the Japanese line originally was, Kanuku Man or
yeah.
something like
It's
that.
yeah. It was based on Japanese pro wrestling, which is crazy, and then was made cartoony, which made it even crazier.
Yeah. And they're these little, I'd say, what, inch and a half?
Thereabouts.
An inch? Mostly just straight up pink little unposable plastic figurines. And they came over here as Muscle Things, and you'd buy a trash can with 8 of them in there, and they're nice, easy, cheap nostalgia, and I'm a little surprised it took this long for them to come back. Super 8 is working with Mattel and doing them for a bunch of licensed lines. They started with He-Man because Mattel is desperate to make He-Man be anything.
He-Man has just enough fans that they want to be able to milk them, but doesn't have enough that
Yeah,
it can succeed. So it's in this sort of they keep trying to find some way of reaching out to them that will actually work.
I've seen those hideous brick built figures in the
Oh
stores.
yeah, the ones were like,
They want to be a cross between Lego and Funko Pop, which is just unholy.
yeah, yeah. I've seen some twisted shit come out of Funko. That
Yeah, but no, this is these are like the big head figurines made out of Lego style bricks, meant to look like He-Man and
yeah,
Skeletor and the Terminator
but
and
they're all
Master
perfectly
Chief
square headed because reasons. Yeah,
bricks.
because bricks. Never mind that all the actually good brick builders don't do that. Uh,
Yeah, they're fucking hideous, is what they are.
I will say I do like the way that they changed it this year. They just call them Masters of the Universe Muscle. Originally, they were calling them Motussle, which I thought was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I actually kind of, in comparison to Funko, I'd rather have every line in the world become a bunch of muscle than
Oh
be
yeah, yeah,
Funko
yeah.
Pops because yeah,
No, I don't have a complaint about the Masters of the Universe muscle
yeah,
per se. Honestly, that's kind of one of my ideal settings for a line. I mean, that's why I helped fund kickstart the Mega Man board game, because they were making a bunch of miniature figures of a lot of and mostly a lot of the mini villains. But that's kind of where I was heading, is that they've they're doing other license stuff, and Super 8 got the Capcom license for various things. And now we've got they've shown off Street Fighter, and they finally they announced Mega Man, of which I am a fan, as some of you probably have
yeah.
noticed. They announced Mega Man a long time ago, and we never saw anything. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, I know exactly what's coming. And they've shown off the first round of Mega Man Muscle, and of course, it's all characters from the very first game. Exactly what I did not want.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I don't understand it. Every time some licensee gets the Mega Man license, they go right to the first game thinking, oh, first game. And it's like, the first game is not what the pop culture world at large thinks of when they think Mega Man. It's not the game that was a hit.
Mega Man 2 was the hit.
It's not. Yeah. And I'm actually starting to I'm really beginning to wonder if that's a curse that's kept us from keeping a Mega Man line going.
They always start with the rather lame and comparatively villains from the first game, and then whenever
Comparatively, they're okay, but they're not the ones that people have nostalgia for, more or
right.
less.
Also, since every line starts there, everybody has the same reaction, which is, well, I'll wait until they make some stuff that I don't already have, and then it never
Yeah,
gets
I
to that
mean,
point because nothing from the first wave sold.
I really like Electman and Fireman, but I've got several versions of Electman and Fireman. I don't need another one, even if it's, a muscle instead of a keychain.
Right.
Where's, the fact that nobody's done Metal Man, who was, near as I can tell, one of the more popular characters in the whole thing, because he had the weapon that everybody used because it was overpowered.
Oh yeah, yeah. Metal Man's blade was awesome.
Yeah, but I just kind of sitting there going, man, I would punch a bus of nuns to get a line where they would deep cut Mega Man characters in cheap, inexpensive. Anything from beyond the first game at this point is practically a deep cut, and it's a little unsettling.
Mm-hmm. The,
And I know these things exist. They exist in Japan, and they're expensive now because nobody kept them. The cheap Gashapon style or candy toy figures that are unpainted, soft plastic figurines, because that is a major market over there. But just I don't understand. A lot of companies seem to really want just think, hey, if we just put the old stuff in, that's all it takes, and they don't really think beyond
Mm-hmm.
it. Seeing a little of that in Transformers now, and it's a little
Little irksome. Yeah.
well now. Yeah, it really makes me wonder where we're gonna go after Titan's Return because we're running out of Generation One to recycle. Are we just gonna loop back in?
If I have a prediction, based upon what little that has actually been, whispered about and so forth, the only thing I've really heard about post Titans Return is that they're keeping the miniature play. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm thinking next year is probably going to be Land of the Micromasters. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of they're going to probably they won't turn into heads anymore, but there'll be a lot of this guy fits in this guy fits in this guy fits in this guy. Uh, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that's going to be sort of a blend of Micromaster and Pretender play patterns. Yeah,
Matrushka
yeah,
Transformer.
very much like Russian stacking dolls.
Eh, it's possible.
The Excuse me. I ran out of water and didn't want you guys to have to hear me crunch all the ice.
Hmm.
Uh, One thing I would say just in general is that the miniature play thing is where I think a lot of things are going to go. As I understand it, like the little miniature blind bag DC and Marvel lines are doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that the one mistake that that Titans Return has is that you can't really put the heads in a blind bag.
Hmm.
But if they do something where it's like basically Micromasters next year, they could blind bag them to heck and back.
Well, I don't see why you couldn't blind bag the Titan Masters if all you're putting out is just a
Right.
head.
Well, I'm just saying that just turns into head is kind of a limited appeal
Hmm.
comparatively. I mean, I can understand why they might, why they haven't done it basically. Um,
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen like a bunch of store exclusive heads like Takara loves to do with
mhm.
minicons.
Yeah, a nice like head pack or like maybe if it's not like a pack of heads, then just heads, then like one guy with like four heads or something.
Well, no, there is a six pack of heads. I'm talking about here. You spend 3,000 yen at Toys R Us on this weekend, and you get
Oh,
this
okay.
special clear purple head that only exists for this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah. No, they seem to have avoided that. Oddly, because it's that's a eternal temptation for that company.
They do that kind of thing all the time. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be much of that going on right now. In fact, there was another batch of mini cons that nobody seems to have on the secondary market anymore. I don't know. Maybe that's just not got the draw it used to. Maybe they oversaturated that market, which is
Right.
entirely possible.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's one of those things where I can't I don't know how much lure that's going to have after a while as people get increasingly tired of it,
Hmm.
and especially whenever like if you don't do your exclusives that way, if you find other ways of handling your exclusives, you can at least sell your leftovers online relatively easy now. But I
No, I see. I can, yeah, definitely see microplay becoming a much bigger thing. Apparently, Steven Universe is getting brick built, a Lego like line
Mhm.
out of McFarlane of all places.
Wow.
I remain shocked that McFarlane Toys is in business.
I'm actually rather shocked because the last I heard they were making hockey statues and not the much else.
That may be why they're in business. Sports fans do tend to be a little.
Yeah,
There was a time when I worked at a toy store and we sold way more McFarlane sports stuff than anything they ever did.
yeah.
That's
It may be a regional thing because we never sold like when I was working at a place like that. at a comic shop. We sold like nothing when it came to McFarlane sports stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, we have NASCAR as the big thing, and so there was a
Oh well, I'm in North Carolina right now. We totally had
yeah,
NASCAR,
it's
but I mean that's also McFarland Sports. That he had the I'm pretty sure he had the figures slash statues of the
yeah.
drivers,
Here
as I
though, I mean,
recall.
it was like mainly what we would get was we got people who wanted the 164th cars or they were Hot Wheels collectors. And
Mm,
I have it's like anything bad you can say about the average toy action figure collector is 10 times truer with a Hot Wheels collector.
hmm.
Shady, shady folks.
Yeah, but no, I can absolutely see the toy market in general going further and further towards microplay because
Well,
I don't know. I mean, it just seems
yeah.
obvious. You get a lot more for your money. Shopkins are apparently still really popular.
Yeah, kids like to have a whole lot of little things. The current trend is towards collect 'em all. They never got out of that post. Pokemon changed everything in that regard. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing is that your adult collectors are also into little tchotchkes to sit on top of their computer. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. Cheap collectibles is kind of what propelled the '80s line. It's what helped Star Wars be a gigantic thing. It sure as hell helped GI Joe. I know I had more Joes growing up than I had
oh yeah,
Transformers.
certainly, certainly.
Joes were
Yeah,
$3.
and but going back to the muscle thing, they had at least the Mega Man sculpts are very Ruby Spears, isn't it?
No, no,
Or are they
they are pretty much straight from the
okay?
game.
I thought they were rendered
Just
in
kind
sort
of
of that like early Mega Man cartoon kind of way, at least,
no, pretty sure.
or maybe like super close to what the inside brochure art was like. But
No, I'm sorry. I'm just pulling up the picture, and no, they're pretty well. I mean, they're more muscle thing proportioned than actual Mega Man, but no, they are pretty straight um, game
yeah.
illustration
Well,
model.
anyway, they have a nice look to them. They're very
Okay. Oh, hang on. Apparently, there's the other muscle thing is
they got
I'm seeing Mazinger Z
yeah, they
muscle.
have Shogun. It's just called Shogun, but it's all the Shogun
Shogun.
Warriors guys. And
Okay.
they've got that, and they've got Alien, and they
Huh.
have Masters of the Universe, and they've got Street Fighter, and they have Mega Man. So they have a
Hmm.
big showing, and if you're like one of those people who likes to have a lot of toys in one format so you can cross them over, that seems to be the big way to go. And
Oh, that's a solid lineup of nostalgia right
right,
there.
and they also there was another one that they have their own homegrown line called the Worst, which are just like cool villain figures, and they are
Hmm.
making those guys as in muscle scale too.
Yeah.
Um,
So my hope is just that the Mega Man muscle lasts long enough to start giving us that lasts long enough to get beyond
right.
Wave One. Because Christ,
Well,
what do I have to do to get a Crash Man?
I will say that you're probably in a pretty good position there because it's not like I would say that there's probably more Mega Man fans than Motu fans, and
Yeah.
Motu's into like Wave 3 for Motustle.
Hmm.
So, I mean, to the point that they've got like the Talon Fighter. The new sets they
Huh.
have a single molded Talon Fighter that you can just set the little muscle guys into. And
Huh.
like Alien has some larger size figures, like the Alien Queen and Ripley in the
Oh yeah.
Exoframe, that are like bigger than the standard size, which is something Muscle never did back in the past. That's a nice little innovation.
No.
And it looks like everything they're making that they're also doing like scaled up versions of the sculpts as blind pack figures, like blind box.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm seeing a thing down at the bottom. Definitely. Yeah. Those look like blind bags.
yeah, and they They are also doing something that's actually really smart because they did they're the same people that do reaction, right?
Um, Super 8? I don't know
Well,
offhand.
I may be jumping company to company here then, but the whoever does reaction, if it is Super 8, then yay. If not, then somebody else. They did the aliens Kenner style figures, and they're apparently doing new versions of the alien in multiple different like color schemes as blind bag figures.
Oh, wait, it's not Super 8. What am I looking at? Who is it?
I'm trying to find the article
Uh,
on Toy Arc right now. So
yeah. Super
Super
7.
7, yeah,
Okay, yeah, and Super 7 is who does reaction.
yeah.
Okay.
And I will say this: I've not been a huge fan of reaction, but
No.
I'm starting to revise that because they seem to have finally figured out that not every figure is original Wave Han Solo. And so they've reached a point where they're actually sculpting things decently while still maintaining that old schooly kind of format. I would be lying if I said I wasn't tempted by some of the Kenner style Motu figures, just as a weird little side jaunt. In that you're
Hmm.
taking one classic toy line and conforming it to a different classic toy line style. I think that's kind of an interesting twist.
Have He-Man drive your Millennium
Right.
Falcon.
And but they also the other thing Robotech. They have Robotech for for muscle. And
Huh.
they also are releasing Robotech stuff through Reaction, but it's just at this point Valkyries in a old style Kenner design, which is not super exciting.
Harmony Gold's got to get that lunch money somehow.
Yep. But
Oh, okay. I saw the pricing for the street for the $6 for a 3 pack. Yeah, I
that
can
ain't
do
bad.
that.
No,
No, no, that's pretty well perfect.
yeah, but like it looks like they are doing blind packs of just the alien, and so it's like you will get like the alien either in classic black or transparent green or like part red and part blue, like it's burning up or something. And so at least you're guaranteed that you will get the only figure in that line anyone wanted, which is an alien. And
Hmm.
I was actually kind of fond of the old of the '90s Kenner alien stuff with all the wacky alien variants. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. And so, but like they're they've upped their game for their sculpts for their stuff that's done in that retro style. And so now everything looks like a good figure from the '80s, '70s, or '80s rather than, well, let's just say it, first run.
Let's make the soap
Yeah, the soap
sculpt.
sculpt
The
Han
what?
Solo,
Yeah.
or the like the Bespin dude that looked like he was pre-garroted. You know, all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
There was terrible pinheaded Princess Leia. That yeah,
Yeah.
that was there. I think what they're finally figuring out. Oh, they're also doing like basically everything that they're doing Motu style. They're also doing like old Kenner style. And
Hmm.
frankly, I will probably get all of the Shogun Kenner style figures because that stock
Hmm.
arm, that like straight arm, straight leg Kenner thing, is exactly how the original Jumbo Mockinger toys were posed. So
Yeah.
it's basically it's like, oh, it's Manzinga, but he's tiny.
Yeah, supposedly Mega Man's getting some of those, and I'm wondering just how that's going to
Yeah,
translate.
they didn't show any pictures of Mega Man, but they got the rest of the stuff. And here, I'll just pop open that thing. What? How does? What have you done, Skype? What have you done? Oh, there we go. I had to update Skype to get the audio things working, and they've moved stuff around because keeping things in the same position, that's for fools.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah,
Okay,
you can
yeah.
if you definitely, especially if you look at like the alien stuff and the stuff for Shogun, because I think those are.
Well, I gotta say, doing Robotech in the reaction style is well, that's actually pretty friggin'
Yeah,
genius.
yeah. But yeah. So that was like I would say that Super Seven or whatever. Yeah, Super Seven. They had probably the best Toy Fair showing in general of everything that I saw.
Yeah, it's like I said, as much as I like to rag on He-Man, because let's face it, it deserves it. This is probably going to be your best bet for He-Man for a long time. It's cheap, it's very accessible, it calls back to the fond days of youth without a lot of the
Yeah. What I
lameness.
was saying is that it looks like Reaction finally figured out that the thing that they needed to do was not to recreate what actually existed at the time, but to recreate people's memories of it in a form that's easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
By upping the
Yeah.
quality of the sculpts, by handling, like dropping the flaws from the old stuff and handling but keeping all the cool stuff, they're able to make it feel more like you remember those toys being than like what those toys actually were like.
Yeah. Now, if they could just remember that not everybody likes Mega
Yeah,
Man. Okay,
I
it's not a terrible game, but it's
what yeah, it's I think Mega
I swear
Man's
the first company that gets me an anchor, oh, they will have my eternal
yeah.
gratitude.
Other stuff though, I mean, Playmates' showing was pretty much exactly what you expected. Um,
See, I haven't seen much outside of Transformers in that little bit just because I've been running around.
Basically, what the sum up is, everything you could possibly want from Voltron is getting a toy. Uh,
Yeah, I had heard that they were making figures of the pilots, so I'll probably get a pigeon a hunk. I don't know about
yeah, they've got
anybody
figures of the
else.
pilots. They've got row beasts in the same sort of figure scale with the pilots and the smaller Voltrons. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's everything you would expect from a line that's doing as well as that is. Um,
Is it doing well?
well, I don't know if the line's doing well, but I know the shows are doing fantastic.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
at least fan feedback on the larger scale combining Voltrons has all been very positive. Apparently, they've done very well making them.
Well, from what I've seen on toy shelves, it seems like the Voltron stuff is
Mm-hmm.
selling. Like I'm seeing a lot of near empty pegs, which is usually a good sign.
Yeah, and the other thing is like there's more Turtles stuff coming. It's all the characters from the show. Only real
Mm-hmm.
surprise is that basically they've confirmed that this is the year that Usagi Yojimbo's showing up.
Oh right, I did see. Yeah, there's a bit of samurai line in the Usagi Yojimbo, which is what we were
Yeah,
waiting for. Had
yeah,
to happen.
it's an eventual thing. It's nice to know that the rights changing over from Kevin Eastman's hands to Nickelodeon's have not ended the Usagi Yojimbo crossovers, since that's something that has been done. It's one of those things that the creators were friends, and so that's why
Yeah,
it was always done. Um,
and it just wouldn't feel right to not have Usagi Yojimbo show up at some point during a major
yeah,
Turtles thing.
it's like not having it's like not having the Triceratons or the Shredder. He's been in every incarnation of it except the live action movies.
I don't know about Shredder, but it's definitely. I'm trying to think of
It,
a good way to
he's in
think
the
about
same
it.
category then as at least Leatherhead. Um,
Well, I'm trying to think in terms of other franchises. Like, well, let's go with
yeah,
Batman. It not having that tie to
right.
Superman,
Yeah.
I think,
Technically, you could do a Batman series that never encountered Superman or mentioned it,
or some other
but it does
superhero.
seem the world seems smaller, but without it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, maybe Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I think maybe does better if you have if yeah, doing a Spider-Man without Captain America showing up at
right,
some point.
right.
That seems a little more
Hmm.
plausible.
Or like even just a yeah, that's pretty much on front, like not having a major superhero show up in a Spider-Man series that isn't Spider-Man. Uh, it's just he's been in. He even showed up in the old rank in the old. Uh, wasn't there an episode with him in the? Yeah, yeah, there was in the old Fred Wolf cartoon. They even had him show up for an episode because
Yeah,
there's this clip of Raphael,
of Raph.
yeah, talking about
Yeah.
how, and of course they speak English because it would be crazy if they didn't. Yeah,
Sure, he's a humanoid rabbit from an alternate dimension that based out in feudal Japan, so of course he speaks
yeah,
English,
and
as you
yeah,
do.
but everybody else, I mean, most of the stuff that I've seen come out of Toy Fair this year has been very much just what do you expect? It's been very not a whole lot of stuff has come out as big and wow. The only things that really have are like they're doing the superhero girls Lego Friends.
Hmm. They've had those out for a while, but I can see that doing better.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean they made a big deal of it basically. Yeah, it's been one of their
Yeah.
big pushes, and you have the normal like geek stuff, geek stuff for the geek gods lines. All of these straining muscular little man statue companies.
Yeah, I don't see much going on in Star Wars that seems to really.
Well, yeah, it's Star Wars is going to now. We're getting like a Star Wars movie every year. That's going to mean that Star Wars loses a lot of its celebratory nature.
Yeah.
Not that that's necessarily bad, because hey, high to rise means really dark, deep fall. But
Hmm.
the other thing is that apparently there's going to be Batman figures in that reaction 3 3/4 scale. But
Huh. Oh, and I saw apparently Hasbro also announced that there was going to be a Marvel vs. Cap, some kind of toy based on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or whatever it's called. The new one they just announced, but they haven't said who is in it or what. I imagine they're going to have to try and figure out the rights,
yeah.
because
Oh, to clarify, when I say that there's going to be Batman stuff in that scale, I'm talking Batman 66.
ah,
So,
well, that seems entirely
yeah.
appropriate. Actually, that seems like the obvious choice. That would be the one I would absolutely go with.
Yeah. It's not coming out of Super 7. It's a coincidental thing from a different company. I think
Hmm.
it's Funko is doing it. But
Mm.
they seem to be basically they're doing Batman. It's Batman 66 and also like a figure of the old serial Batman. And
Mm.
they look to be basically that scale. They're more like a hybrid of classic Joes and classic Star Wars. Looks like they got ball jointed shoulders, swivel elbows, swivel
Mm.
knees, swivel hips, rotating neck. Doesn't look like a waist joint on any of them. So
Mm.
it's like basically your classic Star Wars figures, but with elbows and knees and with ball jointed shoulders.
Mm. We'll see how that plays out price wise. I think part of it is I think it helps if your cheesy old style action figures
Yeah,
aren't
if they're about
expensive.
seven to $10, that's a lot better than if they're like 15 to 20.
I think even 10 is way too
Yeah,
much. You got to go somewhere between 5 and
yeah.
7. 7 is about the ceiling.
But yeah,
Uh,
everybody.
oh yeah, speaking of Funko, we found something worse than the Dory.
Oh, what was it?
The Funko, it's Heimlich from A
Oh
Bug's
yeah,
Life.
now I realized what like Dory reminded me of, and Dory's looks like one of those ice creams with the gumball eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It looks like
Oh, I think that's why Funko Pops in general make me sad and terrified. They all look like those fucking gumball eye ice
Yeah,
creams.
yeah.
Except when they don't and they're super over
Oh,
detailed.
but they still keep the little ball eyes, which makes them all the more terrifying. It's
Yeah, the dark crystal ones are awful.
like Sebastian is particularly terrifying from the
Yeah.
Little Mermaid. And,
Well, I just also saw like Morty from Rick and Morty with all the guns, and they give him a fucking mouth. I thought that was the whole point, that, they don't have mouths. I mean, that's one at least where Rick and Morty is vaguely simple enough to where it looks less horrifying if you Funko Pop him, but somehow you've managed to fuck it up.
see,
I
see,
don't.
there's one I would take as muscle style characters. Oh
Rick and
yeah,
Morty? Well, they're also on tap for McFarlane brick figures,
oh that might be okay, but
pseudo
I'm
Lego.
just thinking that I would love to have a whole bunch of little muscle me six in different poses, and it would actually let you make character the minor characters like Combobulus Michael and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like all the weird aliens and stuff would look really fun as little muscle guys. Uh,
Well, at least you'll get brick figures, and they looked okay from what I can tell. I mean, they weren't. They look more brick based than McFarlane's normal
yeah.
stuff. Well, his normal brick based, but again, his normal brick based stuff so far has been almost entirely The Walking Dead,
Hmm.
which is pretty much just his normal style, but all the figures are basically just his normal style. And then Five Nights at Freddy's, which I think is a little more brick proportioned and squared off.
Yeah, there was a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's merch. Uh,
I don't get that. Like, okay, we're diverging, but oh, well, I mean, we're talking about obscure things getting expansive toy lines, so it
yeah.
still fits. I can get the appeal of Five Nights at Freddy's. I personally don't feel it. Not my kind of game. I can understand it being a cult hit, and from what I've understood, the guy behind it is actually a really stand-up guy and done a lot of good with the money. And in fact, there was actually, yeah, Jim Sterling did a video about it, and the whole point is this guy took criticism of his game, saying, "Oh my god, these things are fucking creepy. They're like hideous animatronics." And he's like, "Okay, I can see that. I'm a run with that." So he took, criticism and turned it into a thing, and so I completely understand, and I completely understand why Five Nights at Freddy's is a thing. I legitimately don't see how it's a thing that's big enough to support a massive merchandising push that you can find at Walmart and Target. That's the part where you start to lose me. I was not aware Five Nights at Freddy's was that big.
Honestly, I have no idea how some of these companies do their thing. Like the ones that do the grown up toys in the video game aisle thing. I really don't. I guess there's a larger audience for that stuff than I would have thought. But
Well, no, this isn't in the video game aisle. This is toys in the toy
yeah,
aisle. You go to any Walmart and you will find Five Nights at Freddy's action figures
yeah,
right next to Spider-Man
right.
or whatever.
It's
And I
just
don't.
baffling.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe it's one of those things like when you find out how much Minecraft has actually been played. It's always like, oh wow, that's way bigger than I thought. Not
Yeah, I can understand Minecraft. I actually can understand Minecraft. I can get Angry Birds. I just maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I mean it's entirely true. It's entirely possible that I have severely underestimated the fan furor for Five Nights at Freddy's. For fuck's fake.
nice. Oh, one thing that I missed on my first time through that I have to say, okay, bravo. One of the other things Super Seven is doing again, sealing their position as the dark horse of this whole toy fair. Um, because who saw any of this shit coming? But one of the things that they're doing is they are doing Shogun Warriors style Boba Fett and Stormtroopers.
Huh.
And in the actual 2 foot tall, square footed, hollow plastic, I shoot my fist at you style.
Neat.
And yeah, that again, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys are doing a good job. All past sins are forgiven. Now, get, get me more muscles of everything. Just
Yeah. Yeah, Shogun, Toxic Avenger.
mhm. But they've gotten deep enough into Motu that they are making like Fisto and shit. So
Hmm.
I'm sure that it's going to get to a point where you're going to get your guys from other Mega Man games.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Oh, they're even doing the trash can. They are doing the trash can packs.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, one thing that I did like about the Motu style, sorry, the muscle style Mega Man stuff is at least they did like Sniper Joe and the little
Yeah.
hard hat guy and stuff like that.
Well, there's only so many bosses in the first one.
Yeah, but they could have very easily just sort of stopped the assortment at the number of guys that they
Yeah.
had, and they went and they made some of the little bad guys. And heck, I fought that sniper dude enough going through
Hmm.
through the games that I feel like I know him better than I know any of the bosses.
Now we can get me an oil man and a time. Yeah, if they can, if this can last long enough to start getting other games and to dip into later games, especially the ones that don't have much merch
Yeah,
and some of the obscure ones and all that, I will be quite happy with that. Like I said, I'm a little annoyed at the fact that they opened with one, just because that's the trend seems to be you get one shot and it doesn't sell and
right.
bam. It's the electrified
Yeah,
cupcake.
the nice.
Because I've seen it with those Kid Robot mini vinyls.
Yeah,
I've just seen it with so many things.
yeah. I think though that this is going to give you a stronger position because this is the first game is clearly Wave One, and
Mm-hmm.
everything's in a multi-pack and it's in a small collectible format and it's only going to be $6 a
And
pack.
it's
I'm sure they're going to do
yeah,
well. um and
yeah. Also, I just want to point out to everybody that as I searched for Super 7 on Twitter, somehow that has led to hardcore gay porn.
yeah, gotta kind of be careful about that.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of sports and sports, hardcore gay porn. Okay, whatever. Not what I was anticipating.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like I said, that's the stuff that's it's been a sort of an odd thing that most of our discussion today has been about this particular obscure small toy company. But like I said, they had the best showing. It's like the
Yeah.
most stuff that surprised me.
Yeah, that's
Hasbro,
yeah, Transformers didn't do a lot for me this time
it's a
around.
lot of stuff that we already knew that was coming, and a much more conservative movie presence this year. Like,
Yeah, I mean, what I saw there does look pretty. I gotta admit, I like the way the Dinobots look this time around. Scorn is. I'm probably gonna get that
yeah,
Scorn.
they're all very nice, but the line is like way smaller and has a lot fewer weirder little sublines than they used to.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm sure I'll enjoy the Crash Combiners or whatever from Robots in
yeah.
Disguise. You know the packs, but yeah.
But like, there wasn't even that much from Hasbro on non-Transformer fronts. Um,
From what I could
I mean,
tell,
there were
no.
they had their
I didn't. Nobody covered Rescue Bots, so damn, I don't know what's
oh
coming out
I
there.
oh
Not that they
oh
probably had
they
much to
did
show.
actually. There was you haven't okay. I know you normally go to AllSpark over TFW, but TFW had a big thing on Rescue Bots.
Oh, okay. Link me to that at
Yeah.
some point after this.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of the line. They're doing a lot with the line this time through.
Yeah, because I saw the thing about the investor thing, and they were talking about running rescue bots through 2019, which makes me
They
happy.
have for rescue bots like a version of like a redeco of the Tyrannosaurus Optimus Prime as hotspot.
Hmm.
There's that new off road vehicle that's a fire rescue dude. Uh, yep,
ATV
they have their
thing.
own two headed dragon. Uh, there's a
Huh.
version of Optimus. There's a big version of Bumblebee that turns into a dragon. Like yeah,
Huh.
big yellow dragon, Bumblebee.
Okay, I'm looking at the thing now. I'm seeing minicons, dragon
Yep,
minicons.
and they got their whole crash and race subline, flip racers.
That looks
That
interesting.
looks
And
adorable.
again, cheap and yeah.
It's basically like a slightly larger, slightly nicer sculpted bot shots, and
Hmm.
I like that. And also, there's apparently new characters. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's nice. See, that is really the kind of thing that I've started to look forward to when it comes to the stuff that I don't. If I can't say, okay, who are they remaking now? Because yeah, I mean they say, yay, we're making Tidal Wave as a Titan Master. Okay, hooray! He's a retool of somebody, and I've already got a really great title. I mean that's nice. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're looking outside of the 1980s. Thank you. Not exactly lifting my luggage, but I appreciate the
yeah.
effort.
Um, let's see. Yeah, the only other thing I can think of really to talk about is that just before Toy Fair, there's this rumor that was popping around. Started at some entertainment website, but no like source on it. Sounds super
Oh,
sketch
yeah.
of a Netflix Beast Wars show.
Yeah.
And
I don't buy
my whole thing
it.
was like, if come Saturday we see a shelf full of Beast Wars stuff, sure. But
Hmm.
as much as I would love Netflix to make anything Transformersy with their current like in-home people that the studios that they've been getting to make their other like homegrown
Yeah, well,
shows.
that's DreamWorks,
Yeah,
so.
like if you could actually pull it off, I would be delighted. But no, I'm super suspicious. Um,
Yeah, I don't buy it.
although occasionally you do run into weird surprises, like the bizarre Rid Titans Return crossover series in Russia,
Yeah.
which what's ultra strange about it is that the characters from the two timelines don't seem to interact much for a crossover. They just both see this big portal.
Well,
But
that because that would require a lot more animation.
yeah, yeah. Still, I mean, it's funny. You get these like that. You can have a Russian localized Transformers web series. It's just strange to
Yeah.
me. Um, but yeah, uh, Toy Fair news has been exciting. We're going to be getting back into video stuff as soon as Greg gets settled in his new place.
I mean, I'll be seeing you shortly, so we can shoot one or two short, stupid
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
maybe. But yeah, well, like I said, I'll be coming back, and I will be taking about a month to settle accounts and get everything final and ready to get out there. So we'll probably get another rifflet or so
Mm-hmm.
out.
And yeah, sounds like a plan. All right.
And once I'm out there, I will very likely have a lot more time to work on videos because I won't be having to do the two job thing anymore.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop recording. Good night, all folks and such.
Enjoy your plastic dealy
All right.
bobbers.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Pipples, if you liked our nonsense, why not give us a like or a subscribe or leave a comment down there somewhere?
You can also do us a big solid by joining our Patreon, where you'll get to join us for live streams, get early access to the newest videos, and other such things.
Geek Vision.